There isn't a football player alive, and that includes all those of us who played it in high school who didn't somewhere in the back of our minds see ourselves in the pros, maybe hear our name being called as we came out of the tunnel during player introductions. It only works out, of course, for a very talented and gifted few. And then there's a smaller subset than that. Athletes who are also called upon in life to demonstrate an inner principle at a critical time. Here now, Mary Carrillo continues her reporting on these two brothers we've met tonight.
Remarkably, at the peak of their playing careers, 27-year-old Hussein Abdullah and 29-year-old Hamza Abdullah took a voluntary leave of absence from pro football for a leap of faith, a dramatic decision that unfolded both over many years and all at once.
The first question, most obvious, why'd you do it?
Why?
Why?
It's kind of a long story.
Why'd you do it now?
Last year there was a tug of war inside, in my heart and my soul. There was a tug of war, and something was just drastically missing.
I was coming home from a workout, and he called me, and he said, "Hamza, it's working out a little different to you this year." I said, "Yeah." I said, "It almost feels like, I'm wasting time a little bit."
And your brother was feeling the same things at the same time?
It's amazing, isn't it? We've been playing football since we were 8 years old, from Pop Warner into high school, into college, into the NFL. And although we're knocking down all these barriers, doing things that people said you can't do, you're too small, you're from this area, all of a sudden it was like, there's more to life than this. There's more, and we had to go for it.
The brothers rechanneled their perpetual energy, and in July they observed Ramadan with a multi-state cross-country teaching tour, reaching 30 mosques in 30 days, including the one that is perhaps America's most controversial, in Lower Manhattan, located just north of Ground Zero.
It's about 2 blocks away, and it's tucked into a little corner, and it's just a small, peaceful place to pray. There are people who were in the towers who were Muslim.
In fact, among the nearly 3,000 who died at Ground Zero, about 60 were Muslims, their names rendered in bronze at the new 9/11 memorial. American Flight 11 passenger Rahma Salih was 7 months pregnant at the time of her death. The teaching tour during Ramadan also included stops at food kitchens, meetings with youth groups, an emphasis on treating women with equality.
My wife, when we were in Denver, she had just became Muslim. But we get to the masjid, the brothers have this 15-course meal, and the sisters have 1 piece of pizza to share. So, today at Juma, the Khatib was talking about taking care and taking hold of Ramadan and not letting the month pass you by. Well, how can we get to that part if we can't even satisfy the basic structures of Islam? There are sisters running away from Islam because of us. This is upon us.
1 of 12 children.
And finally, after their whirlwind cross-country adventure, they jet across an ocean for the most sacred journey a Muslim can undertake, flying 18 hours and 8,000 miles from LA to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca.
This is what they rock in Saudi Arabia. Thobes.
Our camera team tracked the progress as Hussein tightly rolled his clothes, an efficiency learned from his Navy brother.
And I thought it was weird, but you actually can fit a lot more into your bag when you roll it up.
Mom and Dad refused to be left behind, even though Yusuf, a diabetic since 1993, knew he couldn't count on his regular daily dialysis treatment while in Mecca. And there were important final instructions from Dad. Hussein to 5-year-old son Jalal, Hamza to 5-year-old daughter Layla.
Did anything about Mecca surprise you?
I was getting ready for a crowd of people.
And then?
This was not a crowd. I've been at stadium let-outs, where you sit in traffic and you're mad. Oh man, I had to wait a half an hour to get out the parking lot. I had to wait an hour. We sat on the bus one time for 12 hours. That's average. But, you really had to work on your patience.
The Hajj, which Muslims are directed to do once in their lifetime, attracts an astounding multitude of 3 million. It's a week-long observance. Specified rituals include walking 7 times around the cube-shaped Kaaba, Islam's most sacred structure. All men wear the ihram, 2 sheets of white cloth, so there can be no distinction between the rich and the poor.
This area here is where the 4 of us sleep.
For an NFL player accustomed to 5-star accommodations, the scope of these contrasting conditions was extreme.
What's crazy is you may look to your left and you see someone who looks like Peyton Manning praying right next to you. And then you look to the other side and you see someone like me. And then you look and you see someone from Bangladesh.
It's not like I know somebody who plays in the NFL.
My parents are not, wealthy. They're a teacher and a carpenter, and they worked their whole life to try to provide for 12 children. Here they are, my dad has health problems and he's dialyzed, and, my mother has secret health problems. She won't tell anybody what they are.
It's an honor for us. It's an honor and it's a blessing because not only do you get to take your parents to complete their 5th pillar of faith, but you also get to serve them while you're over there. You call, you say, I love you, I appreciate you, but you get to actually show it. And that was a beautiful thing.
Good sons.
No, better parents.
You had to understand what it meant to them. What a journey.
Yeah, we're still on that journey. Now it's, what do you do with it? Do you use it just to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I made Hajj at 29 and I went to Mecca, I'm so cool. And no, it's not that. Now let's see if we can help someone else go. If we can, spread this message of true Islam, of what it is and what it isn't.
I love when he says we were expecting crowds,
And then, yeah.
like after a game in the NFL. Mary, what an interesting story. And I guess for football fans watching, the natural question is, so will we see them back in the other habitat?
Yes, that is their hope. In fact, they're availing themselves for the rest of this year. Special teams, these guys are considering what they went through. They didn't lose that much weight or that much muscle. And they want to keep being football players, but first and foremost, they're men of faith.
And imagine fasting during 2-a-days, the worst of football practice. And
I know, full pads, the whole thing. These are special guys.
Mary Carrillo, so great to see you outside the Olympic game venues.
Nice to
Thank
be
you
here.
for visiting us.
Pleasure.
Thanks for working on that story. It was great stuff.